Many times when traveling to a foreign country, people get a little bit intimidated whether there's a language barrier or whether they're just not familiar with the geography of a place. Now, this can start at the airport, this can start midway through a trip, this can actually inhibit you from wanting to go out and do things because you just feel a little bit scared about interacting with people, especially if they have a different language. Well, today I'm going to go through a couple of things that are very specific to Mexico and especially to a place like Merida, Mexico, where my wife and I have a home. But there are about 5 things that are very simple that will make your trip a little bit more relaxed, make you much more comfortable, and they're as easy as downloading an app on your phone at times. So that's it. Let's roll the intro. So my name again is Alexander Howell, and welcome to my channel where we discuss travel, real estate, especially in dealing with Mexico and Merida specifically. My wife and I have a home down there. We bought it about 5 years ago during the very beginning of COVID. It was renovated, and now we have it all to ourselves several times a year, and then we do have people to come in and rent it as well. But the goal is to retire down there, and so learning a lot of the things that I'm about to share with you was really helpful so that we can help the people that come to our home, whether it's guests or whether it's renters. So the number one thing that I always hear about has to do with language. Merida, Mexico is not like a Cancun or a Puerto Vallarta or even a Cabo San Lucas. It is very much a colonial city where there's 850,000 people and English is not ubiquitous across every place. For the most part, when you're walking down the street, when you go into a cantina or when you go into a shop, you're going to hear people speaking Spanish as you would expect. However, anybody that's used to Cancun or Riviera Maya can probably attest to the fact that if you only know English, it's a lot easier to get around down there. Merida, it's a little bit different, but learning a few key phrases can help save everybody the embarrassment of having one of those moments where you just can't communicate right. Because I don't think lack of communication should ever be something that holds you back from traveling, which I think is one of the most important things that humanity can do. So learning some phrases like por favor, please, gracias, thank you, or something like lo siento, which means I'm sorry, which I have to use a lot. And it could just be I'm sorry, basically saying give me a second, I'm going to type something up on Google Translate, I'm sorry that I don't understand, whatever it may be. Learning some of those small phrases is a very easy way to just have a nice smile and get through a bunch of situations. And the other thing is Google Translate. It is now easy to take your phone, download the Google Translate app, point it at a picture of a menu, and if it's all in Spanish, it'll translate directly and almost completely perfectly to English. So you just take a picture of something and it translates instantaneously, and then you can figure out what you're ordering, and you're trying to put something together and the directions are all in Spanish, boom, now you've got English too. So it's a real easy app to do that, to type something out, to have a conversation with individuals, and once you get used to the process, it becomes a lot more comfortable. And I can tell you that some people may tell you, well, that's going to be a little bit intimidating, like people aren't going to like that basically. I haven't had a single situation, and again, we've been down there for 5 years, we've stayed there months and months and months and months and months, and not one person has looked at that and wanted me to try to get my semi-conversational Spanish out, as opposed to just looking at something I typed and then typing in something else themselves. It's very helpful. And if you want to go even further, you can start out with things like Duolingo, which is an app for learning languages on your phone. My entire family, for the most part, is on it. It's helped us significantly. Even if I can't understand a conversation the whole time, I can always understand something that I'm reading or listening to on the radio. It's getting easier and easier and easier, but chill out, relax. It's language. People understand that you're traveling. People understand that you're trying. And as long as you're doing that and have a smile on your face, you're going to be fine. Now, this one is something that I think helps both travelers and people that are new to an area and trying to live there. And that is tours, airport shuttles, going to cenotes, doing all the fun touristy things that you want to do, whether you're living there full time or you're just going to be there for a week or a month or whatever it might be. There is a site called Viator, Viator, and I have something down below that is like a travel agent code or something. Use that if you want, but it really doesn't matter that much. What I'll tell you is that that is the website that I go through for every single thing that I'm trying to arrange, whether it's a trip to a cenote, whether it's airport transfers, because it makes it so much easier to just have it lined up ahead of time. And you can go through and really trust the results. There are so many interviews, there are so many people that have gone through, done 1 through 5 stars, talked about their experience, that you can kind of tell, okay, this is the place that I want to go with. I've used it every time. I can't think of a single instance where I've been disappointed in a service or where I felt like I was led astray if I did my research. Because there are times where you kind of look at it and it's like, well, that one's not really well received, but that's kind of what I want to do. and it's up in the air. That's maybe happened once and it was still okay. But I did this on our trip in Portugal. I've done this to trips in Boston, and I absolutely do this, especially for airport pickup for us and our family and our friends that come down. I'll go on Viator, I'll organize the whole thing, and boom, it is done. So using an app like that is something very simple to just relax, get your computer out, learn exactly what you want to do. If you want to go to Progreso one day, you want to go to Uxmal one day, you want to go to Celestun, or you want to go to Chichen Itza, this is a great way to do those tours. And it's also a great way to get people to your home that you care about from the airport if they're not Spanish speakers. So Viator.com is something I really recommend. Now, similar to this, I call this kind of the easy life section because there are things we have gotten used to that I know some people are probably going to be a little bit against, and we'll get to that in just a second. But in the United States, especially since COVID, we've gotten used to having deliveries. Now, that's not just Amazon. That's like the Walmart app, Uber Eats, Instacart, all of those different things to be able to get grocery store stuff to our door at a time that's convenient for us. A lot of times that's because we're working. A lot of times that's because the kids have events. We don't want to spend an hour going to the grocery store when we can pay somebody to gather those things, bring them to our house, and it's just a payment for convenience. Now, this is where it's going to get a little different because there's an app called Rappi, R-A-P-P-I, that we use on a pretty consistent basis, which can pretty much bring anything to your door. Everything from the Costco that's there, not the Walmart, because Walmart has its own app. That's another one to download too. But there are other grocery stores in the area, whether they're local or whether they're larger multinational chains, that are very, very helpful to have. Now, where I was telling you that this gets a little wonky is that there are a lot of people that are like, why are you going to Costco rather than helping the small businesses around town? Well, the truth is we do. We go to a lot of tortillerias. We go to a lot of places around there that sell whole chickens because we go through so much chicken. We have local restaurants that deliver. We go into local restaurants, but just the fact is that there are so many things that at times it is just easier to get the things we are familiar with, get them delivered to the house so that we can eat at the house, drink at the house, whatever we want to do. But we have the things that we know and we're comfortable with. Whenever we want to go out, we'll absolutely do the local market stuff, but it's kind of like here in the United States. My behavior probably isn't going to change. I just want to figure out how it's convenient. Now, you can think of that what you will, but if you're somebody that's on vacation, if you're somebody that's there, especially for a long time, whether you're living there or just on a sabbatical for a couple of months, it's very nice to know that you don't have to rent a car, find an Uber, find another Uber to get you back, get somebody to help you, whatever it might be. It's nice to just have those things delivered to your door, pay somebody to deliver them for the convenience, and continue to move on. So the ones that I recommend are Walmart, if you're a Walmart person. If not, who cares? But Rappi, R-A-P-P-I, is one of the most convenient apps you can possibly have. And we've used it for everything from medications to electronics to liquor to food and restaurants. So enjoy it, enjoy the convenience, and then when you're ready, step out of your front door and go see some fun stuff. Now, on that same ticket, let's talk about food. There are so many people that will ask me, what places do you recommend? Well, a lot of the places that I recommend are places like El Templo that's near us, Bacchus Wine Bar that we've had excellent experiences in, places that are not necessarily completely off the beaten path, but ones that we've really kind of enjoyed the owners. We've had a great time there. Their food is either very good or it's well priced, and or both, whatever it might be. So we have like our small little favorites. Then we also have like Crabster, and everybody who's familiar with the Merida and Progreso areas probably laughs at that because it's very much known as like the gringo place, because it's a very fancy place, but it's high priced, and I understand that, but it is still really excellent food. So if you want to go out there and get some good seafood, you go there. But there are all kinds of other places along the beach in Progreso. There are all kinds of places that are just along the path in Merida. But I would say that if you're just going down there for a short period of time, try to stick to the main areas. If you're in Progreso, stay on the Malecon and then branch out. If you're in Merida, go around the places on the Paseo de Montejo, which is the main boulevard that kind of goes through Merida. There's Calle 47, which is a gastro corridor that has all kinds of amazing places like Oliva, which we had some great Italian food there when we were there last time. But you can find those kind of forced corridors, but then start going off the beaten path where you'll then find places like Bacchus, you'll then find places like El Templo, and also do a food tour or do 5 of them. One of the best experiences that we had was, I think it was our second or third year down there, we finally did a food tour in Merida because we had time between everybody else coming down. And they took us to different places where, honestly, I don't even know if we would have ever found them, if we would have ever gone in there and realized what they were. And it was some of the best food that we've had. It allows you to experience the community and the place that you're in, but also really understand the fact that, and this is going to sound bad probably, but there was one food hall that just kind of looked like a scary industrial area. Not that there was anything like scary about the people. It was just like, this was a big metal building with a bunch of trailers underneath it. All those trailers were food trucks basically, and they all made excellent food. I have one of my favorite meals down there is Relleno Negro, and I had one of the best pieces of it down there. But I would have never known, or probably wouldn't have known to go there if I didn't do the food tour. So get on Viator, find a food tour, and you will have an excellent time. And again, don't just do one. Do a bunch, because it's all those people's favorite places, and the other tours might have some different ones as well. So try that and you will not regret it. And number 5, and this is one that's very specific to been down there, actually going to be a resident, whether temporary or permanent. Should I buy a car? Do I need a GoPed? Do I need to rent a car? What do I, a GoPed? Jeez, that brings me back. A moped. Do I need to rent a car long term? What is it? Well, when we first went down there, we stayed in Wymatoon, which is a beach township that's about 20 minutes outside of Progresso. We needed to have a car because we wouldn't have been able to get anywhere outside of that, and that's not when Rappi was as popular as it is now. So we needed a car for something like that, to go into town, get food, bring it back, and then have like trips into Merida, trips into Progresso, trips to Telchac Puerto, and to our first cenotes that we went to as well. But what we found was we really haven't needed a car if we're in the city. There are several reasons for this. The first is that Uber is extremely cheap. Now, take of that what you will, but the fact of the matter is that when we go down there, maybe if we take an Uber 3-4 times a day, that's a pretty intense day. We're going a lot of different places, but most of the time those charges show up and it's $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 for the ride across town at 7 seems like a lot. Most of the time it's between $4 and $5 for an Uber ride. Even if you do that and extrapolate it out to an entire month, you're not really gonna need a car when you can pay somebody else to do it. On top of that, and like just putting everything out on the table, if you're going to a restaurant and you're having a couple of glasses of wine or you're having a beer or two, Merida and Yucatan specifically are very, very hard on people who drink and drive. You will spend a night in a Mexican jail. We had some very close family members that almost went through that fun little experience. They were not drunk, but they just went to a bar, had a couple of beers, came right back. They had a stop set up. They went through it and almost didn't get there. Would have been scary. So between all of that, my question is going to be, why would you, especially if you're in the city? Now, if you're outside of the city, that's a different story. But if you're in the city, I would say get an Uber. It's a lot easier to do. And then if you are a temporary resident, maybe start out with a moped, maybe start out with a street bike, something like that. Something that's easy to get around, easy to park, easy to pull into a house, whether you have a garage or not. And then you can see if you need to step it up to a car. I assume if you're down there full time, you've got a full life down there, you're picking up people at the airport, that kind of thing. Yes, maybe you graduate to a car, but initially, why? And those are just some things to make things easier. This video isn't a complicated one, but it is something that I felt was necessary because I do get a lot of these questions, just little questions about, hey, I'm a little comfortable with the fact that they speak Spanish down there a lot more than they do in some of the other cities in Mexico where English may kind of be ubiquitous as well. I don't really know how to get from the airport to my hotel. Is there a good thing to do there? How do I organize any of the trips that I want to do? Should I go to this place or this place? What's the best tour company? I'm going to say go to Viator. If you're worried about, oh my gosh, how do I get all this food to my house when I don't really know where to pick anything up yet? Use Rappi. It's all those little things that by day one, you've kind of got things figured out. You can now sit back and relax, and then you can plan the rest of your vacation or your just months long stay. And I hope every single one of those is helpful. I'll try to leave all of those down below. If you're still here, please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you like stuff like this. There are all kinds of videos down below that we talk about varying things, real estate, travel, Mexico a lot. But if you enjoy the video, that's great. Again, my wife and I have had a house down there for 5 years. We have no regrets about anything. We're planning on retiring down there once the kids are in college, but we've still got a couple of years to go, so we're still in the learning process too. But all of my social media stuff is down there. We've got Facebook groups. I've got a text line. If you have questions, you just get a hold of me, and I'm happy to answer anything that I can. But until then, and until the next video, as always, peace.